Hello, Coach Todd.
Hi, guys. How are you?
So hi, everyone. We're just letting everyone in. For those of you that haven't met me, I'm Lori. I'm Todd's wife. I'll just be technical support this evening.
Technical support, yes. That's the front and back of the house.
Sure. All right, I'm going to share screen.
I'm your on-field manager. Finally got some nice weather today. Finally a good practice without rain or cold weather or snow.
We're still letting people in. I don't want to start the slideshow until everyone's in. Keep coming.
It's a busy night.
All right. I think we can go ahead and begin. Why don't we put the agenda up so that everybody can see it? Why don't you run through the agenda real quick as I keep clicking everyone in?
Yeah, really quick, the agenda tonight, summer schedule, first practice, communication, coaches and roster assignments, tournament tents, hotel links, IWLCA sports recruits, national team tryouts, and questions. So we have quite the agenda, some things that we feel is necessary for you guys to make sure you are understanding before our season should start. Officially 28 days away, 4 weeks. I don't know about you, but I am really excited to finally begin the BR summer season.
Absolutely. So I think all in probably about 30 minutes. We can see chat, but at the end, we definitely have some time reserved for questions and answers. And this does include all age groups. So middle school and youth are on tonight as well as high school. So as we get towards the end, there will be some things that youth teams, it won't pertain to you, but it's also exciting to know what's on the horizon with your Burning River experience. So everyone is welcome to stay for the entire bandwidth of the meeting.
Yeah, it's only about 30 minutes. It's not really that bad at all.
Yeah. So let's start with summer schedule. So here, I'll share first about the updates to our website. So all of the practice dates and the tournaments are listed on our website as they have been. This note is really for me because I so often hear him get these panicked phone calls of people saying, since when are we going to Maryland?
Yeah.
And inevitably they're on the boys' side.
Yeah, and that's always the first comment. It's like, yeah, that's great. I'm sure Woody's going to Maryland lots of times, but it's not us. You're probably on the boys. And they go, oh yeah, that's right. It doesn't say girls lax. So
yeah,
it's kind of a funny joke, but yeah, make sure you're on the brgirlslax.net website, bookmark it, put it on your phone screen, home screen.
It really is helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
to really add a bookmark to your home screen of your phone for brgirlslax.net. That will always be the most updated information. And also we're going to show you the league apps calendar. But before we do that, let's just run through the, for anyone who may have forgotten what they signed up for. Where's everyone going?
Yeah, okay, let's start off with high school. High school is they're attending 3 tournaments this year. The Ohio Lax Festival, June 11th and 12th. IWLCA sanctioned Capital Cup in Richmond, Virginia, July 8th and 10th. And then the NXT Grand Prix, July 16th and 17th in Westfield, Indiana. Middle school is going to follow up with tournaments, Ohio Lax Festival as well, New Albany, July, same dates, 11th and 12th. Trilogy Lacrosse Midwest Moxie in Lebanon, Ohio, Cincinnati area, June 18th and 19th. NXT Grand Prix followed in Westfield, Indiana, July 16th and 17th.
Mhm.
So same as high school, except IWLCA sanctioned Capital Cup is swapped out for Moxie, right? No need to send 7th and 8th graders to a college recruiting event because they're still in middle school.
Mhm.
And then they followed up with the youth program, Trilogy Moxie in Lebanon again, July 18th and 19th, and then NXT Grand Prix, July 16th and 17th back at Westfield, Indiana.
Mhm. And then this is just to show you, if you go to our homepage, I'm assuming everyone knows to do this, but in the top right-hand corner, if you click log in, it will actually take you to the top here is the login once you've logged into League Apps, which is your account for your players registration. And at the top bar, if you click on calendar, this inset will open and you can toggle to the different months for the summer. And all of the practices and tournaments are currently in there. If you're a visual person like me and you don't just want to read dates on our homepage, this gives you a glimpse of what your summer is going to look like.
Yeah, this is something that I can tell you, I know Woody on his side always sends like a PDF file of the calendar. We actually found a function in League Apps that allows us to input the information, and you guys have access to it through the same process we do.
And again, I know everyone has their own system, but I know for me, I screenshot each of the 3 months and I've saved it as an album on my phone, so I can constantly look at the BR schedule and know where my life is going to be impacted by lacrosse, which, let's face it, it's every day. So
Every day.
Okay, so first practice is coming up on June 6th. What's the breakdown?
Okay, so June 6th, first practice, high school will attend 4:30 to 6:15 p.m. And then middle school and youth programs are 6:45 to 8:30 p.m. Basically the same times it was last year, but if you're new to our system, we like to make sure we're about an hour, half hour, 45 minutes, take a little bit of a break in between to get one group out, register the next group in.
And where's it at?
It's in Brunswick, St. Ambrose Church, same fields as we had last year. Is now a time, yeah, new. So I'll talk about the new field. So the gentleman who runs St. Ambrose, the athletic director there, Ryan Harrington, is a good friend of ours. Actually is in the process of building one field, is complete, is in the process of building a second field across the street, cleared some land for us. So we go from 1.5 field to 2.5 to maybe 3.5 somewhere in the middle of summertime before we get done. So we've increased our field space immensely to be able to put different teams on different fields and actually go full field line with a basic scrimmage, right?
So for those of you who have been at the facility, St. Ambrose Church is really the hub of the parking lot and where we've done the check-in for the past couple of years. Now the teams will be split on both sides of Pearl Road. So half of the group will be assigned the fields behind St. Ambrose Church. Other half will be I'm still letting people in. Other half will be across the field behind the training facility. So any of you who have done the winter skill sessions at the indoor training facility, that parking lot will be adjacent to the new field.
Yeah, and I think we're just talking about keeping it split because we want to make sure everyone checks in and stays in their specific spots instead of checking one spot, trying to cross the street and go to the next spot. Just get them where they need to get to. They get to their field and they practice.
And so we will be sending an email with an aerial map for especially people who are new so that you can identify where the fields are and which grad groups will be in each place. So for the first night of practice, though, we want all players to arrive 30 minutes early for this logistical change, and then we'll show you what else is happening. But the remaining practices, 15 minutes is more than enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you'll have everything you need at that point. You just need to check in, make sure you say, hi guys, I'm here. I'll see you down at the field, and you just head down.
So there will be 2 check-in tents then for the 2 sides of Pearl Road, and they will be set up very visibly for the players to check in.
They are logoed with the BR logo, and there is a flag that'll be to the left and right of each tent. So it'll be clearly marked.
And this year, no COVID screenings at check-in, but obviously we all are familiar with what are the protocols that we need to put in place, which is if your daughter is feeling sick, simply stay home.
Yeah, keep everybody safe. Do what you have to do, but don't come and infect the rest of us. Yeah.
Yep. What are they going to get opening night?
Yeah, so we were going to grab one. We were going to grab one. Players are going to receive a penny. The first time we've given out girls pennies on the girls side, but every player gets a penny, no matter what if you're in for practice or flex or whatever or all season. Returning players that have been with us before will get a new backpack. New players who have not played for us will receive a new uniform. It's either or, not one and the other. It's one or the other, right? And then a name tag. And the name tag is really significant to putting it on your player, having your player check in at their station down below, meeting their coach, saying, hi, my name is Kim or Beth or Susie or whatever. Hey, coach, what's your name? That kind of stuff.
So the uniform or backpacks, we started distribution of these back in the fall. We have a master list of who has already received these. So at the end of this, final distribution of these items, if there are leftover backpacks, we'll make an announcement because anyone who would like to purchase one will be more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, we might do some giveaways too to some players, like do some interesting things. So
that'd be great.
We're happy.
All right. Also, first night. So what the players need to bring?
Yeah. So all gear. We mean all gear. We say mouth guard, your goggles and your stick, cleats because we are on grass, and a water bottle or 2. I will tell you, a lot of times we used to have Gatorade stations set up. COVID kind of took that away. But most of the girls would bring 2 water bottles and all their equipment, right? If they have 2 sticks, bring your backup in case your regular stick happens to break or your mesh rips.
And if we could please say to label everything, but
Yeah,
especially those water bottles. I mean, the graveyard of water bottles that is left after every single practice, and they're all hydro bottles, whatever that are
Hydro
really
flasks.
hydro flasks. They're all the
Yeah,
really expensive
yeah.
ones. So please make sure your daughter is putting her name on those things. And what are the two things that every player must need to know before they approach their coach for the first time?
Yeah, so when you get down to the practice field, we actually start getting after it. The coach is going to say, I need to know two things from you. They're going to have a rostered clipboard in front of them with all of the information on it of your daughter, which basically has her name, her number, and whether she's attending Lax Fest or not. The coach will probably say, hey, Susie, we show you attending your number 7, and we want Susie to say, yep, coach, that's me. I'm number 7. I'm good to go. I'm coming. The reason I want to go over this is because I want to make sure you guys understand Lacrosse America has what they have. They have this thing called Play Initiative where they test every roster. So how do I say this correctly? If I have a roster of 20 girls and 21 girls show up on the field, they're only going to allow those 20 girls to play because the roster is not, it's called roster integrity. It's not 100% perfect. It has to be 100% perfect. There are no equations that allow it to be anything else. So we come to the practice saying, we know you're going, we get a thumbs up, we mark it off, we submit the roster to Lacrosse America. When they do the lacrosse, the roster integrity, they'll line up all the girls, they shoot them with the back, they measure everything on their platform or their tablet. Once everything's certified, once they check, they're good, the rest of the day they're done. So there's no kind of, one of the reasons probably why we go back to Lacrosse America as much as we do. The roster integrity is something I absolutely really love. You have
No other
to,
tournament does that?
no other tournament does that. They allow you to submit rosters, but they don't check, right? Like this group will check. They'll drive around and check and make sure your roster is 100%. So there's no funny business whatsoever. And I love that about them, that they have the time to take to make sure. And if there's a mistake, they'll fix it. We'll get it corrected on the field if we make a mistake, but we really do, because we double, triple, quadruple check these things prior to that. So there's an initiative why we have to do that, right? It's really important to make sure we get it right. And the kids deserve to know who they are in the system, right? They deserve for the coaches. College coaches are there watching some of the high school kids.
And we'll come back to rosters in a minute too, because I know that there's some fluidity there, even in that first week. So at the practice, it's important that, a lot of you are driving a long way. So there are really nice bathrooms inside St. Ambrose Church. So if your high schooler is driving by herself, let her know that too, that she can park.
They can change.
Yes, they can change inside their beautiful facilities inside St. Ambrose Church before then going to the fields that the player is assigned to.
And down by the fields, we have glorious porta pots stationed everywhere. So there's one or two, I think, down by each field. So there are porta pots there in case they have to use them. But if they wanted to wash up and get done when they just finished the sandwich, they want to get dressed, they can do so in the bathrooms inside.
So for youth players or even middle school players, if you are leaving during the practice and planning to come back, we just ask that you make sure that those children have a cell phone with them, and that you also check into league apps and make sure your cell phone number is correct. That's really important so we can reach out. We'll talk about communication a little bit, but go ahead.
No, I was gonna say why it has to be correct. Because if there's something that happens like a thunderstorm or we're canceling practice or we're making some type of adjustment, I'll always call Lori. Lori will go into league apps, send out an email test, and it'll go right to your cell phone right away. So you know to come pick up your daughter.
And there is a trainer on site that we hire, of course. So if there is any first aid issues, we have the ability to take care of them initially there.
Yeah.
And then we do have inside facilities if inclement weather.
Yeah, so the St. Mary's room was very popular with us last year. It's a really big open room. The girls, we had inclement weather once or twice last year, some thunderstorms. The girls were brought inside. They're kept safe. They're kept dry. But we do have a station that's safe indoors for them in case there's a severe thunderstorm warning.
Which, of course, if they drive, they're just dismissed. But if they are waiting for a ride, they have a place to stay. That's safe.
We usually take them inside to make sure everything's okay and coast is clear before we dismiss them. But
let's talk communication.
Yeah, one of the things we added this year was the GroupMe app. It's something that I use for my high school group. We sent out per grad year registration. There were links to join, and I just went ahead this afternoon and resent those links out so that if you have one coming and you haven't done so already, make sure you join that 24 group. I know there was a 26 mix up on the link earlier, but I just resent the 27s out. So there should be a way for you. Coaches will then be assigned managers to those groups. So the coach will be able to go in and say, hey guys, 24 group Maroon team is playing on field 3. Let's go 25 minutes early. Bang the message out and you guys got instant communication. So as long as you have your phone on you, we have a quick way to get to you. I think Woody uses Remind Me or some other apps, but we've decided with GroupMe and it works pretty good. And hopefully we can communicate quicker to you and have a better process.
So this will be a great way even for parents to organize, hey, I'm bringing stuff to the team tent, which by the way, is not mandatory for anyone. We'll talk more about the team tent, but it is a great way to, if groups want to meet in a hotel lobby or what have you, they're welcome to use the app for the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of times people organize it saying, hey, I'm bringing oranges for the girls. I'm bringing some watermelon. Sometimes people like to share snacks. So it's a great way for them to communicate, say, hey, you can share your information with everybody else.
And then obviously we still will be using email, and within that email system, we have the capability of sending a text at the same time. During travel, it is not as easy because I'm here in Cleveland and he's on the road. It's not as easy for us to reach everyone, and especially segmenting them if it's a fast message. So we're belaboring the point, but
Yeah.
GroupMe will be key.
Yeah, but GroupMe is also good for like, hey, we're going to do a team dinner tonight at Mushroom and have pizza and go from there. Anybody wants to join us? It's a great way for us to bond afterwards, like some team bonding after the events.
And then as far as email and communication, we're going to ask that you actually talk within your family, because all of you are inside League Apps. Most of you have a family dashboard with multiple parents and children. And so talk amongst yourself over who's going to be the point person in completing waivers, and who's going to be the one to respond to emails. And because that is often a phone call that you're getting from people who are saying that the waivers aren't opening or are already submitted. So just talk amongst yourselves and know who's doing what. It'll be helpful. Rosters. What do you want people to know?
Okay, so first thing, let me explain the process of Lacrosse America. What I do is I create one big CSV file in my computer from League Apps and I send to Lacrosse America. It then talks to itself and says, all of these people, let's say we have 100 people, these 50 were here from last year, their rosters or their waivers are still valid and okay in the system. So some of you don't receive a waiver because your waiver is already still in the system being valid, showing valid, right? But everyone gets a waiver to begin with. It's easier to say, let's send one to everyone and then go down and pare it down and say, delete, delete, delete. Kind of how it just works with Lacrosse Fest. They like a big sheet of everybody, probably because they want to capture email addresses and talk to parents and whatnot. But we have an idea pretty much in about 90%, we would say, through the winter skill sessions, through travel team practices, through returning players from last year. We have a great idea of what the rosters look like. And just so you guys are aware, we have what we call a roster committee. It's several coaches that sit down and say, okay, here's the 25 group, here's the 26 group, or whatever your grad group is. Several people usually make judgment calls. I don't make those calls on my own. The committee makes those calls on how to split players. Again, most of them are set to begin with, but we do want to make sure that, because people have changed since the last time we saw them. If we haven't seen you in a while,
off their high school seasons,
all coming off their seasons now.
Middle school, or
Yep. So we make sure we get a peek at everybody. Do we have all these girls on the right roster? Does it look like it makes the most amount of sense? Do we have to make any changes or swaps? We do that. We get it organized, and then we submit it final roster, usually Wednesday night, Thursday morning, sometimes Thursday night, to Lacrosse America, and it certifies that roster once it's submitted, and then that's what they're going to go off and print once we get to the final event.
So I'm going to repeat what you said. So for the Ohio Lax Fest, for the families that are attending that, they've received waivers that show a team assignment because you had to submit them.
Correct. Yes.
But now during that first week of practice, there may still be some movement in the rosters. You can make adjustments.
Yep.
When will players find out what they are locked in for with the Ohio Lax Fest?
Yeah, usually that first week, we'll make sure everything is pretty much set in stone. It may take a day or two. We try to get as many practices in as we can, and then we try to get at least a couple of practices in as a team, so they can start to build some chemistry. The biggest challenge with Lacrosse Fest is that it's so early, right? Like, it's just that first week off of states. And if you're playing in states, right, which we have players that will be playing in states, you're coming right after the following weekend and playing another tournament. Sometimes virtually uncoached because you've been going at it for every minute of every day. So again, we just want to make sure we have the roster splits correctly. We want to make sure the committee talks amongst themselves.
And how can rosters change throughout the season?
Well, several ways. Injuries, number one. Players' plans have changed. Availability, absolutely. And then players just either advancing or not advancing. Players can grow and exponentially without after a couple of weeks, and then we just say, hey, there's some great things. Sometimes players don't practice well, but they just absolutely play like absolutely out of their mind. So you don't see things until you see kids on the field. So after we come home from the first tournament,
Mhm.
we may tweak some rosters. Yeah. What we want is everyone to feel comfortable where they're at. If we have a girl scoring 10 goals a game on a white team, we're going to definitely move her up to maroon. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're just about making sure everyone's comfortable in their level of play.
I think you already said this, that there's one team for the 23s, two teams for the 24s, all the way through the 20s and 29s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that rosters are skill based, like you just said too.
Yep.
And sometimes, people do really want to keep friend groups and things together.
And we try our best to do that. Sometimes the skill
Yeah.
sets don't allow us. It's nothing like really specific to our rosters, except we will make mistakes. I can pretty much guarantee you, we try not to when we have committees and we talk about things really good, but we're probably going to miss on some girls. We're not
Mhm.
the most, I'm not an NFL scouting coach, right? Like I don't have that technique
What would you suggest if a person feels that they are not on the right roster? What would you suggest that they do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, we put a lot of,
I know you do.
a lot of
Yeah.
thought process into who goes to where, but I would just say when we get back from the tournament, maybe on that Monday, adhering to that 24-hour rule and saying, hey, listen, here's some good things I'd like to point out to you. Could we talk about it? And I'm absolutely willing to discuss
Yeah.
that. It just makes more sense probably on the following Monday.
Yeah, not during a tournament.
Yep.
Go home, 24 hours, send you a coach, a text or an email.
Yep.
And then you can discuss it and bring in the coach and have a conversation
Correct.
about it.
Conversation with the coach. Yes, absolutely.
What about coaching staff this year?
Yeah, so we've made a really big push this year to add some really high skilled coaches. We've added a lot of coaches actually to our program. The first coach we hired was a second goalie coach, Maddie Flanagan from Division I, Kent State University, to add to Izzy Eldridge. So we added a goalie coach. We've always had the amazing Coach Ford from Worcester, but we've added Aaron Smith from.
Can I stop you for a second? Because I just needed to talk about Coach Liz Ford is a National Hall of Fame,
Correct.
U.S. Lacrosse National Hall of Fame
Yeah.
coach who is more pedigreed really than just about anyone.
Yeah.
And she's very humble about it.
Yep.
And so go ahead.
Anyways, Coach Ford has been with our staff, so we had a Division III coach, and we've added Division II and Division I this year. So we're kind of wanting to make sure we have that perspective from 1 down to 3 on what it looks like to be a player there, what it looks like to be a coach there, what our coach is looking for. We wanted to have that almost like a table talk amongst those coaches if a player had some information about what it's like to play at college at a specific level. So,
And we're working on that to be able to do a night. Allison's here to be able to do a night where coaches from all of those different divisions can share their best practices for players and collegiate athletes as well. You also have very highly pedigreed high school coaches who are coaching, and then those personally vetted collegiate players that will be on the sideline that are BR graduates. And beyond.
yeah, BR graduates that are coming back to coach, and then current college players. And I think it's funny that I always say this, like the only person that has never played the girls game that's on our staff, like, or played in college, even some of our college coaches played in college, our guy coaches. I'm the only coach that's ever played in college. every one of our coaches has played in college at some level.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how we got to this point, but
Yeah.
they're great people. They care a lot. I think most of our girls will tell you they didn't have something like this that they could really enjoy. And when they were at, when my daughter was a freshman, sophomore, 7th grader, we didn't have BR. We had somebody else. And this is just built out of that function of wanting more for a dad, wanting more for his daughter, and building a program around her that just made the most amount of sense, because what I wanted for her was the absolute ability to skyrocket herself and get to where she wanted to get to.
And I think one really unique quality out of all of the coaches that you have retained, who are especially playing at different levels in college right now, is that they all love the game.
Yeah.
They all want to give back to the game, that the game has given them something intangible in their lives that they want to be part of for the next generation. And they're also willing to talk about the hard stuff. And that's where we've started to really implement mental health awareness within all of our curriculum. We're giving space to the coaches during practices to really share their experiences with players and to really, normalize the performance anxiety and the level of pressure that comes from playing at the next level, so that players who even experience it at young levels know that it is okay and that they can, harness that energy to succeed.
I think that's I'll just jump in really quick.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's really good about who we are. If you've talked to me before prior on the phone, I pretty much told you, like, there's no secret sauce to doing what we do. There's no recipe. There's no 12 special ingredients. We will make sure your daughter works really hard when she's on the field. We will fill her toolbox full of information. We will pull her off the field when she makes mistakes. We will correct them. We will put her back on the field, and we will make sure she's a better person, better player, just better overall Lacks IQ. Like, our girls just care so much. They want it to be better for these girls than it ever was for them. the lacrosse landscape is absolutely changing because of how these girls dig in and make friendships with these girls, right? They're not Facebook friends. Like we don't need to be social media people, but we need to be really conscious of what makes each player tick and how do we make them better.
And every single coach's contract.
Yes.
In every coach's contract, it says right out of the gate that you are agreeing to come and coach for Burning River Girls Lacrosse. And our mantra is every player known and loved. Full stop. Every player known and loved. So, and this year coming back, on the first week of practice, your players should be able to tell you their coach's name. And I know that seems like a really small thing, but I know when our daughter was playing travel, she didn't know her coach's name. And that drove me insane. So
who's
that relationship.
Yeah. So we'll tell girls when we go home, make sure you say, hey guys, my coach today is Coach Todd. My coach today is Coach Shim, Coach Porto, Coach Sean, Coach Ford, Coach whoever it is. But make sure you go home and say, that's my coach. I know my coach's name. And I know, because we're going to introduce you, I know I met 10 girls today that I didn't know before. So this is kind of cool.
So that first practice is really going to take a while for practice to start, because it really is getting to know names and coaches putting faces, because we're putting a lot of pressure on the coaches to get to know every single player. And there's a method to that. So
they will know every player. I will know every player.
I know you do. You do. So the guest coach at Ohio Lax Fest, you want to tell everyone who's joining us that weekend? It's fun.
Yeah. So we were down in Columbus. My local high school team was, and I ran across Coach Morgan Fee, who is the coach for Upper Arlington. And she had previously two falls ago had worked with us before leaving. Coach Ford or Coach Fee is the assistant coach for, she was the assistant coach for Kent State. COVID came. She was removed. She ended up taking a position in Columbus Academy in Columbus and moved. And then since Pinta moved on, she's the Columbus coach for Upper Arlington now.
And she played for Ohio State.
And she played for Ohio State, yeah. So she's a friend of the program. She's going to be guest appearing and coaching with me, probably on the 23 team when we're down there. So the 23 team with myself. I know Allison will be probably in LA doing some study abroad, and Jordan is going to be missing the first event as well too. The two coaches from last year, we're going to fill in for him, hopefully get things done for him. But yeah, good person.
So the bios for all the coaches, and because those are a little bit still not fully locked in, we have more than enough coaches for the teams that we have, but we still have a couple dates we're firming up with.
Yeah, I can show you. Last time we counted, we had 33 coaches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
there's a ton for sure.
Yeah, there's a ton. Absolutely.
So we will be updating the website with their bios and taking photos that first week of any of the new staff members. But then we want you to also read their bios too, because they're pretty badass.
Yeah, some players haven't really made a successful point.
Tournament tents. So we have these two big giant tents that are going to be up on both sides of the field. So this is an ask. You will be using them during practices, and then they'll be taking them down at the end. We're hoping to get some volunteers who can help transport these giant tents to each tournament.
10 by 10 when we say giant, not giant.
Okay, they're 10 by 10, but I've seen the box. I mean,
yeah.
So when you travel, you have usually 6 coaches in the car with you and all their bags.
Yeah,
so
all their bags. Yeah, so sometimes it's just more challenging to get the tents to the field, get the tents set up before we can actually get to the field to actually start coaching. So we asked for help this year. One of those things that we just know is going to be a sticking point for us. We want to have a home base. We are allowed to have a home base this year. Previous years we haven't. We want to stick flags in the ground and say who we are and celebrate and be together and kind of hang out and applesauce and all that good stuff.
We also know it's a pain. So anyone who's willing to do that, we'll give you a $50 voucher towards next year or towards Spirit Wear, and we'll be forever grateful. So if anyone's willing, please let Todd know. Hotel links. This is me too. So just today I finalized there were a couple links that weren't there yet, but if you go on brgirlslax.net, you look at your high school, middle school, or youth sections, all of the tournament links are now live. Some of them lead right to the hotel reservation site. Others, you have to actually click on a middle banner. It's very easy to find.
Usually down the left, right side, or middle right side, it says venues, hotels, things like that.
So if you're in need of hotel reservations, please feel free to do that. We are asked every year, can we please organize hotels for people to stay in? And it's simply not something we have the bandwidth for. Also because there are so many people that have points with different hotel groups. And so we encourage you all to use the GroupMe. There's even a Facebook group that we started last year. If you want to coordinate or make those plans.
Yeah, so what I'll say, 2 things. Most of the NXT and the Lacrosse America event are what they call state of play. They'll prefer you to book an event through their travel agent because they get better pricing. It doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. We don't have any preference to that. But IWLCA, and they give you some leeway on that. IWLCA, if you have 4 teams you're taking, you have to have 32, 8 teams per team, 8 bookings per team, or they won't allow you to play. And we had a massive problem with this last year, people doing their own thing. So you have to book through the people that they want to book through, unless you have like, good points or something like that. But try your best to make sure you book through those events, because that's what they're there for.
Thanks in advance. And really, the hotel rates are pretty good.
Yeah, they're
so,
pretty good. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So
For high school,
recruitment,
for high school players interested in being recruited, Connect Lax was our previous platform. Boys and girls BR players have always used. Connect Lax was bought out by Sports Recruits, which is IWLCA Sports Recruits. It's our new platform. It's been since last year, probably, I think, since we had it. You will be sent a link. So just this afternoon, I sent all of the current registrations in our system over to Sports Recruit. They said they were going to cross-reference those already in the system. Those not in the system will get a brand new how to process your information, how to set up a bio, how to get filmed into the system, all of this stuff, how to get set up. And the way it works is you are assigned a number, and your number is very similar to like a driver's license number. So wherever you go, if you're playing an event that's an IWLCA or Sports Recruit sanctioned event, like if they're doing the filming, they're automatically going to sync your film to your profile. There's nothing you need to do. The lacrosse festival is not a sanctioned tournament event by Sports Recruit, so we're buying that film. That'll come via email to upload to your platform. But your platform is about your bio. Your platform is about what you want to study, and your platform is about your film for your highlight reel, which then gets sent to college coaches to come see you play for the recruiting process. So if you're not on Sports Recruits, please get on it. It's something we pay a lot of money for, not just the platform, the filming. A lot of these issues we put a lot of effort behind, because that's how the recruiting process works, right? Sending film to a coach, going to that prospect day camp, getting seen on campus by that staff. Those are some really big things.
And, the pressure, IWLCA is really investing in this platform and wants it to be successful. They're charging clubs exorbitant thousands of dollars for us to have access for all of you. So they're going to ensure that the eyeballs of those coaches are coming in through their platform. So it really is the new.
Just so you understand, every college coach that coaches has been given a login, a password, a platform to go into IWLCA at any point and look at any film on any player at any event. They don't necessarily have to be at the event. They have a specific set of parameters that allows them to go see whatever they want to see. So if you've been to an event, you can still send an email and say, hey, coach, I was attending this event. Please look at my film, and they can, even though they weren't there. So the access, the accessibility to it is tremendous. Yes.
And it's for high school players. So those who are in youth and middle school programs, that is what comes with the higher package when you age up there. So that email went out today. So again, we want to let everyone know.
Pay attention.
IWLCA.
Yep. Sports Recruit. Correct. Yeah. It'll come and say, we are inviting you to join this. So a lot of joins this week, right?
And when you think about creating highlight reels, I mean, that just makes you want to take a nap. But you said that the help is amazing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's a special function on there. It's a help function. You can call in and say, hey, I'm absolutely lost. They will dive in. They will help you make your first reel, your first highlight. They won't leave you stranded. Don't ask me. I'm not wonderful at that. I can get through it. I know.
But they are paid members of this app. They can demand any help at any time.
This is what this is their job. Is what we pay them for. Correct.
Yep. And I see questions are coming in chat. I'm so glad. We will get to those too. So please keep those coming. National team. What is going on with the national team this year?
Great question. National team. We've expanded from high school. So last year we took a team, open high school team, to the national central qualifier. We lost in overtime to a team from Minnesota, which meant we qualified because we made the finals. We went down to Florida for the national championship.
I know you want to show it. Yeah.
And we won. But it was a really great event in terms of being organized by Corrigan Sports. So we decided this year we're going to go
broadcast on ESPN.
Yeah, broadcast on ESPN.
It was
it was huge. People at home were watching it while we were in Florida. But anyways, high school team, we're going to have open tryouts on June 14th this year. Any high school kid, 23 through 25, that's interested. On the 14th, I believe Liz Ford is going to take a specific group off to the side. those girls that are interested in trying out will get a fair share. Any high school player and any middle school, 26 or 27, can join as well. Our target goal is 20 players, 6 mid, 6 attack, 60, and 2 goalies. Most will say 20 is probably a good number. We may take 21 or 22 for purposes if it's close and we want to have an extra just in case of an injury or something like that. But usually 20 is our target.
And you're also expanding this to middle school.
This year we're expanding to middle school. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a really talented 26 and 27 group. And we want to try to get those kids into the process a year earlier, I believe, just to see how they function against some of the more higher quality.
And last year, this was by invitation only. So it's important to state again that this is national team is open to any player who wants to put her hat in the ring. It's during the June 14th practice. It will be announced, but we want you to know it's coming. And there is a commitment with your calendar. So yes, there's prestige that comes from saying, oh, I made the national team, but we ask that you look in advance at your calendar and really the financial commitment if you want to have your player advance to these tournaments, because it is significant.
Yeah, you can't come to the national qualifier, win, and then say, I can't go to Florida.
Right.
It doesn't, you can, but it doesn't make well with the team, right? We want to have one established roster and that one national team be presented.
So for high school and let's just do high school first. So high school, the commitment is you'll go July 21st and 22nd to Loves Park, Illinois. That's the qualifying tournament. And then exactly immediately following that is the Midwest Cup.
Yeah, it's about 50 miles down the road. I think we decided when we were doing this, it would be a great avenue then to take those qualified players, some of our probably our best, and take them to a tournament right down an hour down the road. So stay in the Chicago area, go an hour down the road. The next day play in the IWLCA Midwest Cup, right? Where again, you're back at more qualified tournaments, highly recruitable events. Again, when you're 50 miles away, we kind of just stay the 2 days. So we added that to that picture this year.
But middle school
is only doing the National Cup qualifier in Loves Park, 21st and 22nd, then heading back home. Again, we don't want to burn out or overkill any middle school kid. High school kids are used to doing 2 tournaments in 2 days. So it'll be probably maybe 6 games at the 2 days, and then 4 games probably next. So 10 games in 10 games in 4 days. So yeah, a big part of it, which is why we may have 21 or 22 players that we go just in terms of having enough depth on our bench. But the national qualifying event is December 2nd through the 4th in Tampa, Florida. A great area.
If high school and if middle school, either or both make and win during the July 21st and 22nd, then you're automatically heading to Florida in December.
Yeah. So they take the North, I believe it's so there's Midwest, there's 3 or 4, I think, qualifying events. The top 2 from those 4 events go back to the qualifier or back to the National Cup Championship in Tampa. And those 4 winning teams will battle it out for the whole marble. So you may win the qualifier, but you have to come back and win the national championship.
So the fees for the 2 tiers, just for the summer, any high school player that makes the team, it's $695 for those 2 back-to-back tournaments in Loves Park and Oak Brook, Illinois. It does include a national team uniform that is different from the regular uniform. We've been told that with the June 14th tryouts, if we have a quick turnaround and commitment, we should be able to get those in ahead of the July event, but guaranteed, of course, for December. And then the middle school is just that one July event, and it's $350 for the 1 tournament. Keep in mind, though, if they make those teams, the December tournament is also necessary. We don't have pricing on that yet, but it should be around, relatively the same. So it's a pretty trophy.
Yeah.
So we'll answer any questions on those as well. We're rounding home base here. Oh my gosh. So looking ahead, after all summer is said and done, this is our first 70-degree day, and we're already talking about the end of summer. Save the date. Our tryouts are going to be August 14th this year. So that's important.
Yeah. And we're gonna do a little bit differently this year. We're gonna take youth first, all the middle school players second, and then all the high school players third. So we'll probably have different blocks starting at 9 o'clock and maybe having the high school kids come later at 1 o'clock after lunch.
Awesome. So we have some questions here in chat. Looks like Michelle has her already answered. Kelly Lashinger wants to know, do we join League Apps and GroupMe? So GroupMe was the email that you sent today. If you didn't get one, please send an email to Todd and he'll resend you the link. League Apps is where you have registered your athlete. So if you go to our homepage, brgirlslax.net, click login on the top right, You can reset your password if you need to, and that'll help you get into league apps. But everyone here already, this is how we email you.
Yeah,
Someone
currently through the gaps.
Yeah, and someone said to you today, "Oh, sign me up for emails." We don't. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there is no such thing as what they call a distribution list. The distribution list comes from League Apps. So
Mhm.
we go into League Apps and we type in our email that we want to send out, and we hit send, and all the groups that are registered. Whoever's email is tied to that account, that's who gets the email. So that's the list that goes out. That's the distribution list. There's nothing we put together. It's all based through the system through League Apps.
So back to the earlier comment about communication and within your family, if you don't like who's getting the point emails, or you want to change the address that you're receiving
Go to your account
communication,
dashboard.
if you want to change the number you're getting text messages at, or
Yeah.
opt into SMS texting, all of that is through League Apps, and you kind of control your own destiny.
Yeah. What's the next question?
What if our child has outgrown her uniform?
Good question.
Yeah.
It
So
happens all the time.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it
So I
does.
would say let's get all of the uniforms distributed the first week.
Yep.
And then have your daughter come see me at one of the tents, and then I can go through, because the numbers are assigned to the team roster. It's not an easy swap. So it'll be a one-on-one. So if she needs to make a change, we want her to be comfortable, come see me and we'll get her swapped out. Is there still that optional tournament for youth in Ohio on June 18th? I think she means Ohio Lax Fest. Is that
So there
correct?
was, yeah, but it sold out quickly.
All right.
So I would say, sorry, no, there's no opportunity at this point to join unless somebody decides to not go. And we'll know that during the first week. What's the name?
Oh, sorry, I scrolled down. Michelle Kraft.
Okay, yeah, yep, I know.
Awesome. So question from Suzanne about, should we be able to see tournament registrations listed for our athletes on league apps? I don't think it's that sophisticated.
It tells me
Yes,
the
but you can,
system, yeah, I can tell the system what it's registered. If you're curious to know what you're registered for, I can tell you. You can shoot me an email and say, what tournaments do you show my daughter attending? And I can
Oh.
tell you.
yes,
Yeah.
because, and that actually we did in a Google form way
Correct.
back. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot. So during signups, and that's also, we talked about the first practice, they will be asked for Ohio Lax Fest if they're attending. That same process will happen week over week. So if any changes happen to your schedule, let us know as soon as possible, but the coaches will be.
Well, in about a week
verifying
here, you'll
that.
start to see stuff coming through for Moxie.
Mhm.
And then after that, we should probably be good for that month, I think, until we start practice and really make sure we get our roster solidified. And then we'll come back through with
Mhm.
Capital Cup and then the
Mhm.
NXT as well.
Awesome. Great question from Tom Tennant. He wants to know, his daughter's going to be overseas June 14th. Is there another way to try out? Absolutely. Please make sure to introduce herself to her coach and let her know that her intention is to be evaluated for that national team. And we will make sure that she gets evaluated.
Oh, prior to,
either
so,
way.
okay, she'll be leaving during that day.
She
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
there that day.
Okay, perfect,
You don't
yeah.
have your glasses on.
No, I don't. But I know Tennant. She was a player from last year, so we have
Yep.
information on her.
Chuck Wanat, great point. He says, Todd, maybe a heads up for the parents regarding the NCSA and Captain U recruiting sites so they don't waste their money. You wanna
Great
talk about
job.
that?
Yeah, great point, Chuck.
Mhm.
So NCSA and some of these other platforms are going to tell you that you need to spend money with them because they're the best recruiting platform on the world. And it's absolutely 100% not true. You don't need that because you're already issued Connect Lax, right? Which is then transferring over to Sports Recruit. So anybody that tries to sell you anything for your high school student, just say, no, thank you. I already have a platform. We already took care of all that information for you. So
Mhm.
yeah, great. Because they do get locked in. NCSA does a great job of selling, right?
Mhm.
What,
That's the last one in chat.
Okay.
While we have a moment, what are some things that they should be doing between now, the end of their high school season, and before the first day? What should they be doing to get ready?
yeah, a couple of things that we had talked about. A lot of coaches in the circles will say like ladder work, footwork, doing some conditioning, some sprints, making sure you're staying your oxygen level, right? That your lungs are staying ready to go.
Mhm.
Because you can lose that, 3 days, I think they say it is after sitting around.
Mhm.
But stay in shape, right? Stay conditioned and wall ball. Make sure your stick skills are ready to go because when we get after it, we're going to get after it really hard.
Mhm.
And it's going to be quick, right? The first 2 tournaments come within the first 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And
And what about equipment check? I mean, they're using it right now, but really.
Yeah, I would just say most of us coaches will take a look at equipment. A lot of top strings are probably frayed and ready to snap. We have one of my son actually, Coach John is amazing at stringing sticks. So if you have any questions, we'll probably get some mesh prior to it. We probably bring some stuff down to the field. He could probably string it on the field, make sure it's ready to go for your first tournament. So we don't want any issues, which is why it's great to have a backup
Mhm.
if you have one. If not, then we'll take care of your stringing for you.
Mhm.
Make sure your sidewall and everything else looks great.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
question or no?
Karen McDonald wants to know if we have a roster of families to facilitate carpooling. So with the whole Northeast Ohio, I'm assuming you mean just even a giant roster. So if you live in Shaker and you want to know if someone else can take your kid, do you want to, how?
Yeah, I would just say, so what I would say honestly is just email me, hey Todd, would like to know who's in this area. If it's the Bath area and you're
Yeah.
you're a Revere player and you want to know what's going on, who else is coming up, I can
Mhm.
absolutely send you who in the group. Yeah, I can send you some contact information for sure, as long as everyone's okay with us sharing that. If it's
Yeah.
for carpooling, it should be okay.
I would say if you are, because I think the minority is to say don't share. So if you're in the witness protection program and you don't want anyone to know where you live, let us know and we won't give out your number. But I think everyone would be okay with like, these are the names of people in
Yeah,
the town.
we're happy to help you get carpooling
Yeah.
information. Absolutely.
Yeah. Missed the first 5 minutes. We did send, yes, we did record, Michael, thanks for asking. And we will send that out to everyone so you can rewatch in double time so you can get through it faster too.
Yeah.
Not that you said that, but
No more questions.
any other questions?
I would just say, again, simply, thank you from me, from my family to yours. Pretty much everybody in my area out here works for us. Really cares like about this program, really cares about making sure the product is something that's really good. Those of you that know me, when COVID hit, those that were nervous, we cut refund checks right away, and people that weren't really sure what they were getting themselves into, and wanted to be safe. We took care of all those people. That's just kind of how the club we are. I will share that. Let me just say this: when you see our tents that we have set up,
You're so excited. Just tell them.
I can't tell them. We've done some really big deals this year for next summer, meaning the summer of 2023. We just did a really big national deal with New Balance. So every summer registration next year player, every player will receive a pair of New Balance cleats. We're trying to get to the point where we have a mouth guard. We just did a big deal with Sisu. Put a mouth guard, a uniform on your daughter, cleats on her feet, and a stick in her hand. Like, you come to us, you just pay one fee and we take care of everything. So your bag and the whole 9 yards is kind of included. We're kind of progressing towards that way. But yeah, we just did a big deal towards our tents say New Balance and Burning River on them. So when you see the tents, just know how excited I am to get those up and get people talking about who we are and what we've done in terms for next summer.
You really beat up the people at New Balance too.
Yeah, I really did.
I took off the slide deck because I just wanted to scroll through and see all of your faces and see all your names. It's so excited that everyone's here.
Can I pop on now?
Yeah, your glasses.
Okay, awesome. Who's the penguin guy? Wonder who that is.
Oh, Brian.
Oh yeah, Khaleesi.
Well, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Enjoy the last remnants of your season and hope this
Yeah,
weather...
good luck. If you are a player heading down to Big Dog this weekend, I have a game, I believe, against Bay on Saturday morning. Once that's done, I'm going to head down to Big Dog on Saturday, and I'll be there all day Sunday too. So I'm happy to come watch a game, say hello, meet your daughter, say hello to your daughter, give her a fist bump. Anybody who wants me, just send me a schedule. If you don't send me a schedule, it's okay. I'll have one when I get there, and I'll be on every single field. I'll have a maroon backpack and probably a blue raincoat because I'm sure it's going to rain.
I'm going to repeat that because if you are a new player and you've yet to have FaceTime and meet Todd and have him meet your player, please do let him know if you're going to be at Big Dog. He will make a list to come around and see.
Yeah, and we do the greatest selfies on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter or Instagram, we do some amazing pictures with the athletes.
I don't know if I would call those amazing.
They're amazing. Before the storm.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian says the Pens are up over the Rangers and Madison Khaleesi.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hi. Hey, Madison.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and we can't wait to see you on the field. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Good luck with your playoffs and everything going on.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Again.
Thank you.
Bye.